Are you backing up with CrashPlan and see that your backup never reaches 100%? Are there some files that seem to never back up? I'm Brian. Let's talk about one thing that might be causing this and how to resolve it. When CrashPlan detects a new file to be backed up, it puts it in its to-do list. It then works through its to-do list until it's backed up every file in it, before reporting that the backup is complete. Sometimes, though, you may see the history log saying that it has stopped backing up, but that there are a certain number of files that were unable to be backed up. I will shortly be making a video on that topic, and how to identify and address the files not being backed up. We'll add a link to that video in the description below this one, so you may want to take a look if you find that this video doesn't resolve the issue you're seeing. If you're consistently seeing your backup below 100% and CrashPlan appears to be trying and failing to back up the same file or files, it may be due to a file path that is too long. In this case, you would also see in the service.log files an error message ending with could not open file ... handle value is invalid, file name in curly brackets. Windows uses a set of application programming interfaces that allow other software to interact with Windows. This is called the Windows API, and it has a built-in file path limit of around 255 characters. The NTFS file system that most Windows machines use does not have this limitation, so it is possible to create files in a path that is longer than Windows really allows. When this happens, trying to interact with those files will often fail. That's the case when CrashPlan tries to back them up, but will even cause problems for you in Windows Explorer. If you find that you have files with extremely long paths that may be longer than the limit set in Windows API, you might try to move them to a different path or delete them. If you do, Windows might show you these errors. If the functionality built into Windows can't successfully manage the files, how can you successfully back them up? Fortunately, there's another command that we can use that will help us resolve this issue. The files within a folder extend beyond the file path limit, but somewhere along the path to those files is a folder whose path is under the limit. We can run a subst command, S-U-B-S-T, in command prompt to tell Windows to map a drive letter to a specific folder in the path, thus shortening the overall path when we then interact with the files from that location. Because of how Windows works and the permissions CrashPlan has to view files and folders, simply substituting the drive letter will not usually allow us to back up those files. Instead, we'll make the substitution, then move the files to another folder with a shorter overall path. Open command prompt by typing cmd into the Windows search box, then enter the subst command in this format, subst drive letter : folder path. If your folder is in c:/long/file/path and you want to move it to drive letter Y, you would enter subst space y : space c : /long/file/path. Once you've done this, if you open Windows Explorer, you can open the Y drive, which will contain the files and folders from the folder you mapped to it, and then you can move the files and folders within it to a location with a shorter path. This time, Windows shouldn't display an error. You can just drag and drop the files from the map drive to a new location. Once you've moved the files, you can then remove the map drive by using the subst command again. This time you'll use it with a /d flag. For the drive we created in this example, the command would look like subst space y : space /d. Now that we've moved the files into a location where CrashPlan can access them, we just need to make sure that CrashPlan is set to back up that location. Open the CrashPlan app, then click on Manage Files, and make sure there's a check next to the folder that now contains the files to be backed up. If there is, those files should now get backed up. That's how we deal with a file path that's too long in Windows. As I mentioned before, there may be other reasons why files are not backing up, so be sure to check out our video on unable to back up files when it has been uploaded. As always, our support team is ready to help, so don't hesitate to reach out if you need further assistance.